In the start, we see our protagonist thinking that one day what would you feel if the company you were working for suddenly went bankrupt? Anger? Despair? Sadness? Futility? He is trying to call someone, but the receiver is busy, so the phone asks him to leave a message via voicemail. He says that he is going crazy and gets angry because the person he is calling is not picking up his phone and asks himself about what he is supposed to do if the receiver is not picking up his phone. 6 weeks later, protagonist is trying to find a job, but no one is giving him because of his age. He is walking while looking at his phone and says that now it's difficult for him to find a part-time job because of his age. He thinks that he can't believe it's been over a month, and he still can't find a job or even part-time work. This is a big problem. He's in trouble this time. If he pays his phone bill, his remaining balance will be 0, and he still need to pay next month's rent. Suddenly he stops. He sees a convenience store and thinks, was this place always so bright? He asks, when did such a big convenience store open here? There is a sign on which it is written that they need a part-time worker. All genders are welcome, no age restrictions. Anyone is welcome. Protagonist enters the store. The manager welcomes him. Protagonist tells her that he came in after seeing the part-time job posting over there. He asks her if this place is still hiring part-time workers. Manager is very shocked after seeing him. Protagonist thinks, why is she acting like that? Doesn't she know about the flyer? Protagonist excuses her. She suddenly starts talking and tells him that they're still hiring. She tells him that she is the manager here. Protagonist was thinking that she is just a high school student. She set the chair and asks him to have a seat and drinks. She is feeling very nervous. She asks him what would he like. She tells him to feel free to tell her what he'd like to drink. Protagonist is about to sit on the chair and tells her that he wants an Americano. She gets him an Americano. Girl asks him about his personal information. He tells her that his name is Chan, written with a foreign name. He's 29 years old and live near here. She asks him if he has ever worked at a convenience store before. Chen replies with yes and tells her that he worked at one a few years ago. She is very happy and says, you're the perfect fur, the right age and experience. You're exactly the person I was looking for. She tells him that she is older than him and asks him if she can speak informally to him. Chen gives her permission and thinks that she looks so young, and asks himself if she is really older than him. She tells him the conditions of their convenience store. She says, our convenience store work conditions include a basic contract period of 1 year. Night shifts every day, from 10 p.m. to 10 a.m. The rest of the time, I'll be watching. After hearing the conditions, Chun thinks that his sleep schedule will be flipped. She tells him about the allowances. His clean hourly wage will be 20,000 won. And the work. Chen tells her that he will do it. She says, you don't need to think about it. Chun stops her and says that he'll start working from today. She asks him to sign the employment contract that is on the table. Chun signs the contract. She asks him if he did fill out everything. Chun replies with yes. She says, then, for Chun, who will start working today, let's begin the new employee training. She gives him his new uniform. After 3 hours, she says to Chun, I'll be leaving now, and tells him that sometimes their suppliers can arrive in the early morning and asks him to make sure to check that. Chun asks her if they can arrive even in the early morning. She tells him that they arrive only when it's really urgent. She tells him that she'll handle the organization, so just receive them for now. She asks him to deal with suspicious customers appropriately. Chun asks her not to worry about that because he's used to dealing with suspicious people. She is relieved after hearing that and says, then I'll really go now. Good luck with your first shift today. She leaves the place and Chun thinks, landlady, I can pay the rent now. Not only did I find a job with a high hourly wage, but the manager is also a good person. I've truly hit the jackpot. Chen told her that he was a police officer. That's why she thinks that he can catch criminals quickly if any appears. Chun thinks, working 12 hours 7 days a week, weekly pay is 1.68 million won. If it's a monthly salary, it's roughly 6.7 million to 8.4 million won. If I work here for just 1 year, it's equivalent to the minimum salary of a 10 years veteran at a major corporation. Even working for just 1 month covers several months worth of living expenses. Somehow, I'll stick around here. Chun welcomed his first customer. Customer angrily asks him where the toothbrushes are. Chan tells him that the toothbrushes are over there. Customer asks him where exactly. We see that the customer's face is like a dog. Chin was shocked and wasn't able to say anything. Customer angrily asks him to say something. Chan is still understanding the situation while the customer is still asking him about the toothbrushes. Finally, Chan tells him that the toothbrushes are at the end of the fourth corner over there. Customer goes toward the fourth corner while telling him that he should have said something earlier. Chun thinks, that must be movie special effects makeup, right? Was there a film shoot around here? Customer asks him about the price of the toothbrush. Chun tells him that it's 2,101. Customer gives him a 10,001 note and leaves. Chin stops him and asks him to take the change. Customer angrily shouts and asks him, "Why do you want to keep bothering me? Take it or leave it. Do whatever you want with it." Chin thinks, what's this? A suspicious person who doesn't look suspicious at all? Not that. Is that makeup? How can makeup look so realistic? Even the crying sounds like a real dog barking. Second customer appears there. He put a bag full of coins on the table. This customer is a goblin. He asks him to change this to a 10,001 bill. Chun is shocked after seeing his face. He takes the phone and calls someone. Goblin asks him, "What are you doing? Change it quickly." Chun calls the boss and tells her that a goblin came into the convenience store. Goblin takes the 3 notes of 10,001 in exchange for coins. Chun is about to die and says that he wants to go home. He thinks that this is not a dream. It definitely was a goblin. We see Chan is counting coins and thinks, the filthy goblin who grumbled while counting coins. I counted 145 coins of 101 each and 31 coins of 501 each for 20 minutes. Manager is still on the phone. She asks Chun if all the customers are gone. Chen tells her that he thinks he's gone crazy. Since a while ago, the customers' appearances have been strange. The first customer had the head of a chihuahua and seemed angry. The next customer was a goblin who came to exchange 30,000 worth of coins. This sounds strange, right? She tells him that there's nothing strange about it all. This teleportation area is around downtown, so there's a higher proportion of kobolds and goblins. But that goblin who exchanged 30,001 worth of coins was intense. Chun stops her and says, "Wait a minute, teleportation you says, why would a convenience store need teleportation?" She tells him that teleportation is required to reach customers, and it helps with inventory management too. Chun asks her how a convenience store teleports, and also asks if she is the store manager or a magician. She replies saying that she is indeed a magician. She says, "You didn't know? My convenience store is enchanted with teleportation magic. I cast that spell myself. That's why my convenience store is being operated by moving into several places. I should have told you about this earlier, but I forgot. I'll explain the details tomorrow. But Chin, why have you been acting strange since earlier? You seem like someone from a completely different world." Chin opens the door and gets shocked after seeing a whole new civilization in front of his eyes. This civilization consists of many different types of monsters. Manager is still talking on the phone saying that it would be funny if you were from a different world, but she don't know that he indeed is from a different world. Chin comes back inside the store and says, "Boss, earlier, you made a joke about coming from a different world, but that's actually true." He tells her that he really is someone who came from a different world. "Where I lived, there was no magic, let alone different species." He asks her, "What do I do now?" She is listening to him while eating chips. Chun suddenly hears a loud sound. Manager asks her what that sound was just now. There is a monster girl outside. Chun gets very scared after seeing that monster. Manager asks him if he is okay, and asks him what's going on. Chun wasn't about to say anything. Chun thinks, "Boss, is it possible that you're a different species too?" Boss says hello and asks him if he can listen to her. He says, "Yes, boss. Please go ahead." We see that monster is shopping for now. Boss says, "Well, I've been thinking. It seems like you've crossed over to our world, doesn't it? But I don't really know why this happened. I've never experienced anything like this before." Chun sighs and says, "Really? Anyway, we have to deal with this first. How should I handle these different species?" Even now, we see that girl is on the floor laughing like a ghost. Chun tells his boss, "What's that?" A woman customer is laughing like a ghost. Boss asks him about the appearance of that girl. Chun tells her that she has horns on her head and small bat wings on her back. Boss tells him that she is a succubus and she is not that dangerous, so don't worry. Boss asks him to look for a curse detector under the counter. It'll be eye-catching since it's colorful. He founds the curse detector and thinks, is the curse detector really colorful? What colors could it have? He founds a cartoonish magic wand. Chun says, Boss, is this toy wand actually a curse detector? She replies saying that's right. Chin asks her why it looks like that. She starts explaining, if someone is affected by a curse, they're actually depressed and tend to avoid getting tested. So I made it colorful to lighten their mood. Chin thinks, but won't they feel more depressed? She says, once you find it, bring it to the customer's exposed skin area, then press the button and wait. He sees that Succubus is climbing the counter. She is still laughing. Chun sees her and thinks, Boss, you said they weren't any dangerous. He throws the curse detector. It hit her head. No, he didn't throw it, but it became longer. Succubus falls on the ground after getting hit by that. Wand starts to glow. Chin walks towards Succubus to check her condition. He sees her and thinks, Boss, I killed a customer. Boss confirms that the customer was hit by the curse detector. Chin confirms that and also tells her that it hit Succubus very hard. She says, well, that's how it is supposed to be, so don't worry. But what were the results? Chin tells her that the curse detector is glowing in a violet color. She says, then, how about discreetly taking out the curse remedy from the top row of the gum corner? Chun asks her, the remedy for homesickness, is that right? She replies, that's right, just give them 2 pills. Chin asks her, is this customer currency suffering from homesickness? She replies, it's slightly different, but it should have an immediate effect. Succubus wakes up. Chun gets scared after remembering their first encounter. He thinks, let's first assess the situation from a distance. He tries to talk to her saying, customer, are you feeling better now? Please take this medicine if you're feeling better. She makes a cute face. Chin sees her and thinks that she looks a lot better now. Chin asks her if she is okay now. It looks like she is sick. Chin gets shocked after seeing that. Succubus vomit there. Now she is feeling better. She says that she feels so refreshed. Chun gets angry and tells her if she is done she should leave now. She points at him and says that it's chilly. After saying that, she falls on the ground and sleeps. Chun gets very angry. Someone appears there and says, Boss. He sees a succubus on the ground and asks, what's this? Chun welcomes him and asks him if there is something he's looking for. He asks Chin if he has a 17-degree blood pack. After that, the boss calls Chin and asks, it's the artistic customer who hasn't taken the medicine yet, right? Chun says, yes, I'll give her the medicine once the current customer leaves. She says, it's okay. Take your time. Also, we only handle blood packs below 15 degrees here, so recommend them to go to another store. We also check the identification for blood packs. Is that customer a vampire? Chin confirms that and tells her that the new customer is a vampire. She says, vampires have long lifespans and look youthful, so they periodically renew their identifications. Sometimes people show expired IDs with an X mark. Well, since the convenience store has alarm magic, feel free to do the inspection. Chin thinks, a convenience store with an alarm system. Vampire is holding a very heavy bucket full of different things and says, it's just a precaution. Chin says, right, got it. Chen tells him, customer, our store only has blood packs below 15 degrees. Chen also advised him to go to another store. Customer tells him that he'll just buy this envelope. Chen says, the envelope is 101, and asks him if he needs a bag with it. He replies with yes and also asks for a pack of cigarettes. Chen asks him about what kind of cigarettes he wants. Customer points toward the cigarettes that he wants. There are many types of cigarettes there, so Chen asks him again about what kind of cigarettes. Vampire tells him that he wants the one that is under his hands. They both look toward each other. Chen looks at him and thinks, could this customer be a Mija, right? Chen asks him to shoot his ID. Vampire tells him that he is currently renewing his ID, and I only have expired ones. Chen asks him to show the expired ID or any other ID. Vampires asks him to just give him the cigarettes. Chen tells him that it's a procedure. If you don't show it, I can't sell it. Vampire gets angry and put a card on the table. He tells him that his friends are waiting outside, so check it quickly. Chen checks the ID and thinks, our country's IDs look quite similar. It definitely has an expired stamp. At first glance, it seems fine, but maybe it's because of the mood. He realizes that the photo on ID is surrounded by a rainbow. Chin asks him about this rainbow. Chin touches the rainbow, and something suddenly starts happening. That rainbow is chasing the vampire. He is running away from it while asking why it is chasing me. Vampire asks Chin, "What on earth did you do, sir?" Chin replies, "I'm sorry, but the ID belongs to you, customer." Vampire asks him to put it somewhere else. Chin asks him about where he should put it. The rainbow disappears, and Chin sees that the ID belongs to someone else. Chin tells the vampire that the sticker came off from his ID, and it seems like the ID has changed. Chun says, "I didn't know what you did, but this is an illegal ID, right?" Vampire gets scared. Chun gets angry and asks the boss if she heard everything. She says, "Yes, I'll call the police." Vampire snatches the ID and run away from there. Boss asks him to explain the situation. Chun says yes and explains everything. After hearing the story, she says, "Really? Wow, that could have been a big problem. But how did you know?" "I didn't hear the convenience store alarm." Chan tells her that the customer handed over a fake ID with a stick on it. Boss asks him if they used the magic to attach that sticker. Chen replies, "Yes, they forged the ID by sticking their own photo onto it. When I peeled off the sticker, some kind of magic went off on the ID." She asks him if he just recognized it with his naked eye. He replies, "Yes, I've seen that kind of thing before." She says, "It's really difficult. Our world's IDs have tight security, so forgery and tampering are extremely difficult. So the forgers in this world are very skilled. And these guys are so adept at illusion magic that it's hard to recognize them with the naked eye." Chen says, "Remarkable. Is it that difficult?" She tells him that the store's alarm magic tends to be on the dark side. If it didn't go off, it's usually not a problem. She asks him, "How on earth did you recognize it?" Chen thinks, so it was illusion magic. Was that vampire really such a formidable figure? No, it wasn't that. Ironically, even the forger seemed flustered. Then what the hell is it? She says, "Well, Chun, should we terminate our part-time contract?" Chun gets shocked after hearing that. Chin asks her if he made some kind of mistake. She says, "No, absolutely not. On the contrary, you're doing well. But you're someone from another world who accidentally came to ours." She tells him that she was worried that it might be terrifying and difficult for him. Chin tells her that he is okay, and it's not particularly scary or difficult for him. So he wants to continue working here. Chin asks her if that would be okay. Chun thinks, it seems she's indeed worried. It is a situation worrying about after all, but I must keep working here. Otherwise, from next month onwards, I'd have to live like a beggar. Chin was about to say that he wants to work here, but she suddenly says okay, and tells him that she will call him later. Chin asks her if it's all right with her. Can they keep talking on the phone today? She says, "Great. I was thinking the same. But Chin, did you give the succubus customer the medicine yet?" Succubus is still sleeping there. Chin tells her that he'll give the medicine to the succubus right away. Chun throws the medicine inside her mouth. He tells the boss that after giving the medicine there is no reaction. She says, "Well, since you've given her the medicine, she'll regain her senses soon." She tells him to be careful, as she might feel nauseous. Chen says, "Understood." She asks him, "Do you think she feels dizzy or a little fuzzy?" Chen tells her that he don't particularly think she feels that way. She asks him if he'd like to check for the curses again using the curse detector device. Chun tries to use the device and tells her that it didn't even turn on and is just making some weird noises. He asks the boss if the succubus body is in bad condition. She replies, "It's not that, but it seems to be in a special state, and a very peculiar one." Suddenly Chun feels a shock and asks what's going on. He thinks, "What's with this loud noise and vibration? Is it raining meteorites?" He goes outside and gets shocked after seeing so many boxes and stuff. He thinks, "What are these piles of packages?" We see a girl on the horse. She says, "Delivery has arrived." She says hello to Chan and asks him if he is the new part-timer that her sister mentioned. Chun gets shocked and says, "Please wait a moment." He calls his boss and tells her that a Pegasus riding person has arrived with cargo. "Is this the logistics you mentioned before leaving?" She says, "Right. I told Yunha today that she could do the delivery today." Yunha is her name. Yunha says, if you know enough about me, could you step aside from the store entrance? Chin step aside from there. She shows his a paper and says, thank you. Could you also check the items and sign for them now? Chin takes the paper and says, sure. He calls the boss and tells her that he is not familiar with the written language in this world and asks how he should confirm the ordered items. She says, I'll talk to Yunha about that. Just handle the signature for now. Chin asks her about the items that have arrived. She tells him that snake and drinks and also dragon scales. I thought we couldn't get these, but Yunha managed to find them. She says, dwarves and academies buy them a lot if you break these apart and polish them. As for the purpose, it's for the jewelry. She asks him, are there no dragons if your world? He replies, how could there be any? There's no magic or mythical species. She says, wow, it's even more backward than our rural world. We see the succubus finally wakes up. Chin tells her that he is going to calculate the bill. She asks Chun about love. Chin didn't answer and said to her boss, please call a taxi. Chun sends her off in a taxi. Chun gives her the receipt for the medicine and her card, and asks her to hold on to it properly, otherwise, she might lose it. Driver asks him, that customer, did she drink alcohol? Chin replies, I think she's under some kind of curse. But now that she's taken the medicine, she should be fine. But she still feels uneasy. Please take care. Succubus wakes up and says, what is love? Even when you think you understand, it remains elusive. What could it be? Chen replies, something I want but can't have. She asks him, what does that mean? Chen asks her to forget what he just said. Taxi leaves. Chen says, we met, and it was unpleasant. Let's not see each other again. It'll be quieter now. Yunha hits the door. Chen asks her, what's wrong? She replies, could you tell my sister that I'll be taking the dragon scales away again? Chen asks her, why? She replies, there's a problem with the dragon scales. After some time, Chen looks toward Yunha and thinks, they've been talking for a long time. Is the problem serious? We see Yunha is still talking to her sister. Chen thinks that it reminds him of when he used to work part-time as a server. He remembers watching the boss and the delivery guy fighting over spoiled ingredients back then. Well, even if there are defective products, what can a part-timer do? Just watch like a meerkat as the higher-ups handle it and do their own job. Yunhu looks toward Chen and says, excuse me, your name is Chan, right? He replies saying yes. She tells him that her sister said she wanted to talk with him. Boss asks Chen to check the condition of dragon scales together with Yunha. Chen replies, yes, me too. Yunha and Chen are going somewhere. It looks like they are going underground. Chen looks around and thinks, is this really a convenience store? Why does the convenience store's storage look like a dungeon? Yunha asks him if it is his first time seeing such a storage. He replies saying yes and tells her that it's his first time seeing this kind of storage. She says, you'll get used to it quickly. I was like that at first too. Yunha says to her sister, I told you that your taste was unique, right? She replies, how I decorate my convenience store is up to me. So whatever. Yunha tells her that there should be some limits. You know this interior is really weird, right? She asks Yunha if she is going to keep teasing her. They reach the storage room. Yunha tells Chun that it's dirty over there and asks him to stay here for a moment. Che says yes and talks to his boss saying, boss, you asked me to take a look, so I came to the warehouse. But is there even anything I can do? She says, can you just do I says for now? She tells him that she has a plan in mind. Chen goes in some other room and sees that this room is very dirty and there are so many purple things everywhere. Boss asks him, isn't that a bit severe? He replies, it's not just a bit. What even is all this? These dark, muddy lumps? Yunha is also there. Boss tells him about this thing saying, it's pus. It's like a clump of contaminated magical power. If the dragon scale purification process isn't done properly, that's what comes out. Chin asks Yunha, is that large thing that looks like a turtle shell a dragon scale? She replies, yes, that's a dragon scale. She tells him that she heard that the scaled shed by the dragon who moved to the countryside today were being neglected, so she brought them here in a hurry. But because she was too hasty and couldn't entrust the work to a suitable company, that's what happened. It's not too severe yet, so if we purify it right away and scrape off the pus around it, we can use it. The problem is it's the middle of the night and the company has closed. The current time is 3:13 a.m. Boss says to Chun, "That's why I'd like your help." Boss asks him to touch the pus. Chun gets surprised. Boss asks Yunha to give some pus to Chun. She takes the pus and asks Chun to touch it. Chun is scared to touch it, but the boss tells him to just touch it because it won't be dangerous. Chun is still scared and says, "No matter what, it's still not something to touch. What if touching it causes illness?" She tells him that she will give him 100,000 won if he touches it. Chun agrees immediately. Chun tries to touch it, but he can't. He tries to touch it again and asks if this thing is alive. Boss tells him that there's no way this thing is alive because it's just a clump of magical power. Yunha tells her, it seems to be avoiding Chan. Boss tells him to ignore it and just touch it. Chun immediately grabs the pus. Something starts happening to it. Chun and Yunha get surprised. That purple pus turns blue. Chun asks, "What on earth is this?" Yunha is very happy and says, "It really happened, just like sister said." Yunha asks her sister to look at this and tells her that it got purified just as she predicted. Boss looks at it and says, "It's still too early to celebrate." She asks Chun to try putting the wand on the stone. Chun agrees and touches that blue stone with wand. Chun tells her that there's no reaction from this and asks if that is okay. Boss replies, "Yes, it's because there's no contaminated magical power for it to detect." That's the kind of reaction you get when the purification process is done properly. As I thought, my prediction was correct. Chin, from what I see, you might have an anti-magic constitution. Chin can't understand what she is saying. Yunha explains him saying, it means a body that magic doesn't work on. Boss asks Chun if they can have a little chat. They both are talking. Boss asks him if he remember when they tested his body earlier. Chun replies yes and says, it made a loud noise, didn't it? Boss says, there are only two cases when such a reaction occurs. The first is when there is absolutely no magical power. In our world, that would be incredibly dangerous, but since Chan is from another world, that's irrelevant. Then the remaining possibility is that the tester didn't word because of resistance magic. Chin asks her, resistance magic? She replies, yeah, I thought this case fits Chin better, so I asked you to look at the dragon scales together. So, I'll tell you more details after Yunha leaves. Chun says, yes, I understand. He thinks, what on earth is she talking about? Me, having a magic reflection rainbow constitution? It's not like I'm the protagonist of a drama who just discovered a secret about their birth. Yunha corners him against the wall and says, Chun, I have a favor to ask. Chun asks her, what is it? She replies, please help me purify the dragon scales. I'm asking this for a favor. This is the end of the video. Subscribe for the next part.